Hello and welcome to Feasibility.pro. In this video, we are going to discuss about the residual land value and what is the residual land value, how to calculate it, and what are the uses of residual land value. So, first thing first, what exactly is the residual land value? Residual land value is a land valuation tool which is based on a very simple economic concept that the land value is the surplus after development cost and profit have been deducted from the value of the completed development. So when we call the value of the completed development, either this can be total sales value, and if it is a for lease property where it is leased and not sold to somebody, a valuation of that property can be done based on the rental income of the completed property. So residual land value is basically what we know is the value of the completed development less development cost less developer's profit. So why we are subtracting here the developer's profit and how it is calculated? Developer profits is calculated either profit as a percentage of total development cost or profit as a percentage of total development value, which is basically the sales value or the valuation of the leased property, completed leased property. So this question we asked earlier, that we are subtracting here the why we are subtracting the developer profit here. Why we don't just say that residual land value is the value of completed development less the development cost? Because developer need profit. Otherwise, he will not do any development. Developer's profit is the reward for taking the development risk and for initiating and facilitating the development. Developer's profit varies from market to market. In mature market, we can see developers' profit as low as 10% or even lower. And however, in the emerging economies, developing economies like India, Middle East, or even China, we can see developers would seek as high as 35% development profit on gross development value. So we have already seen this, that the value of land is basically value of completed development less development cost less developer's profit. Suppose there is a land and the developer want to develop a residential building, and he expect that this apartments will be sold for 5 million, and total development cost is 2.8 million, and he want to make 20% profit on total completed development value, which is 5 million. So say 1 million is the 20% of 5 million. So this is the residual land value. So residual land value in this case will be 1.2 million. Consider another situation where in the same land, the developer is considering to develop a commercial tower rather than a residential tower, and he is expecting to maximize the land value for that particular plot. So in this case, we assume that, okay, this is a commercial tower, so it will be sold for some million, and the total development cost will be 3.9 million. And you want to make again 20% on the total development cost, so he will be 20% of 7 million will be 1.4 million. The residual land value will be 1.7 million. Residual value, as we have seen, is a very useful for testing alternative development schemes for given parcel of land. We can check if we develop a residential product or we develop commercial product, or within the residential product there can be various building footprints, various GFA, and we can test what RLV we are getting for each of these scheme. We can calculate the residential land value for various development scheme and compare it even with the land prices of similar site that have been recently sold. And it will give an idea that if we are developing the right kind of product for that parcel of land. Because if the next plot land is sold at, say, $100 per square meter plot area, and our residual land value is $50 per square meter, then it simply means that we are not developing the right product for this particular plot. So it's very good for testing alternative development scheme But as a valuation technique, it has issues with itself, and the basic issue is that residual land value does not take time value of money into consideration. And other issue is that the small error in estimating either the development cost or the value of the completed development, because it is in future, we don't know for how much we will sell it and how long it will take to sell it. So this kind of a small errors here and there will lead to a large error in the land value. And going back to the first point where we are saying that residual land value does not take time value of money into consideration. So what we mean by this is that suppose developer is making 20% margin on cost or even on the completed value, but we don't know how much time he's going to take to make this 20%. Maybe the construction duration itself is 2 years, but to sell this product in the market, it is going to take 10 years. Although he still makes 20% development profit, but time value of money of this profit will be very, very less. This is a basic problem with residual land value. It completely ignores time value of money. So we can very confidently say that residual land value is not a very solid tool for land valuation. Now we will see some calculation for residual land value. So development margin is defined as the development profit divided by the total cost of the development. So you can see here that the development margin is 35%, around 34.5%. So developer is targeting to make 20% development margin on this project. So what will be the residual land value? So we can goal seek this to 20% to see what kind of residual land value we can get by changing cell this, which is the land value. Okay, so we got here this residual land value, 894,000. So we can compare different development schemes and see what kind of residual land value we're achieving for 20% of the development margin. Some of the other developers, what they do that they don't calculate development margin as a percentage of total development cost. Rather than this, they calculate development margin as percentage of net revenue. So we'll take the same example here. This is exactly the same example we have seen in the previous case. The only thing is that the development margin is calculated as a percentage of gross revenue. So development margin is development profit divided by gross revenue. At the moment, developer is making 25.4%, and we would like to find out what will be the residual land value for 20% development margin. So we can again goal seek this to by changing sale, which is the residual land value, and we can see it is 740,000. It is obviously less than 894,000, and it is because simply that we are calculating margin based on the gross revenue rather than on gross development cost, which is this one. So which is right? Which way is the right thing to do? There's no right thing or wrong thing here, because this residual land value method is basically to compare two alternative development schemes. So if you are following development margin, defining development margin as a percentage of gross revenue, then for all the schemes, you should follow the same definition of development margin. Hope you enjoyed this video on residual land value. Thank you very much for watching this.